Hi again. Now I would like to talk about Essay 1. From here on out, all of the assignments that you have done so far have been for me to get a look at your writing, to see what issues you might have. And most of you are very good writers. I'm very impressed, but we've got some work to do. Um, don't worry, everyone's got all points so far. Those were just simple writing assignments worth a point. If you got it turned in, it was a point. From here on out there, I will not be accepting any late work. If it doesn't hit in the folder by the time it's due, I will not accept it through email, okay? And you'll just get a 0 for that assignment. And I will do my best to always make sure there's a prompt for every written assignment that you need to turn in, and there will be a video explaining what that assignment is. No more discussions, no more. We're just going to have to communicate through video, announcements, and prompts in coursed-in content, okay? That's the only way I can think to do this and make it work, because we've tried the technical stuff and it's just not working out. Okay, so having said that, I want to make sure you understand what I'm asking you to do for this first essay, okay? We've talked about monster narratives. You've got to find an artifact. We talked about what those are. So please download the Essay 1 prompt, and let's go over it from the beginning. It's a simple step-by-step process. The first step, choose a topic. So for my example, I chose education. It's very broad. Try to use something a little more specific if you can. Don't go too specific if it's going to narrow it down too hard to make it be able to find an artifact. But don't just say family. Do like parent-child relationships, husband-wife relationships. Narrow it down a little more than just a huge broad category. Education is really a broad category. But then step 2, you choose a cultural artifact. And we talked about those. Those are films. Those are novels, short stories, epic poems, whatever. As long as it tells a story, as long as they are narrative by nature. All right. The example that I chose was a play, which you're also welcome to use, called The Children's Hour, okay, by a woman named Lillian Hellman. Now, your artifact needs to come from the 1950s. And there's a reason for that. It's because most of our values and our sense of who we are as Americans were cemented in the 50s. And we'll talk about more on that a little later. I'm trying to keep these videos short. So example, it says, if you look, it says values of the 1930s. The sexuality of a teacher was of grave importance for several reasons. Or in the 1930s, it was not the teacher's place to teach the students about sexuality. So, step 4, identify the monster. Then analyze on how that monster serves as a metaphor for fear about the topic and the value. Okay, so you identify the monster because that's the person. Once you identify the known world and you identify their values regarding your topic, and you do that by looking at the things they say and at their actions, right? Those will what reveal information about our society and about ourselves and our character. Once you look at that and you realize what the known world's values are, the monster then is the thing or person that is going against those values, that they have to repress again, they have to fight because it's a physical threat, they have to repress it, extinguish it, expel it, whatever. And that is who the monster is. And then you do your analysis, right? You analyze. So you can read over the identifying the monster example from the play that I chose. In step 5, you develop a thesis statement. We've already talked about in one video what that thesis statement parts it should be. And if you look at this example, you will see those parts. It says, in her 1934 play, The Children's Hour, playwright Lillian Hellman expresses the character of Mary Tilford metaphorically as a monster to show that during the time period, sexuality was associated with the value of an innocence at all cost to be maintained for middle-class females. especially by the example of the teachers whose own sexuality did not fall on the wrong side of the obscenity laws of the day. So in the 30s, they had specific obscenity laws that you couldn't like transgress against. So here you have the title, The Children's Hour. You've got the playwright, Lillian Hellman. You've got the tool, the metaphor. It says she metaphorically represents the monster. And then you've got the message, don't transgress the obscenity laws and leave the teaching of sexuality or even conversation sexuality to the families. Okay? So you see the 4 parts there. How do you identify the monster? Well, the monster is the student that goes against the known world's values. Okay? So read over the prompt. So if you have any questions, you can email me questions. But you got to get started on this. I'm going to redo the course map, so the deadlines are going to be moved back a little bit, so not to worry about that. And if we only get to 2 essays this semester, we'll get to 2 essays. If not, we'll try to get our 3 in. But we can do 2 essays and a lot of smaller writing assignments or 3 full essays, okay? So we'll make that decision together as we go. And as far as if you need any help finding an artifact, now's the first step. Get those artifacts, watch them several times. My advice is to use a movie because they're more accessible than reading a book 2 or 3 times. But yeah, make sure you get on that. Don't put that off. Don't wait till the last minute, because you need to give yourself time to analyze, ask questions, come up with a driving theoretical question that you're trying to answer with your thesis statement, okay? And we'll talk more about that later. Thank you for listening, and I will hopefully talk to you again soon. Stay healthy, stay well.